Hello, and welcome to this first episode of our new podcast, My Podcast Is. Finally, we are there, and I'm going to introduce you in a few seconds to our first guest, wonderful singer, conductor, and composer José Cura. It is my great pleasure to host this show, and on behalf of Sasha Nader, our producer, and myself, I would like to say welcome to this new product that we will present to you from now on, hopefully every other week. I'm not going to be long, it is just a little thing to say hello, and if you have any comments or questions or requests regarding our podcast, please do contact us, do send us an email. You'll find all the details on the website, which is mypodcast.is, so mypodcast.is, or on our email info@mypodcast.is, info@mypodcast.is, that is. To help you, those email address and the website will be shown on the left side of this screen from time to time, so you note them or remember them more easily. Okay, well, that was all as a little intro for today. I am not keeping you any longer from meeting our guest, José Cura. I'm very happy that we can now open this new podcast series of My Podcast Is with a very special guest. I'm very pleased to have him here in front of microphone and camera, José Cura. Hello, José. Very nice to have you with us here today.
Hello, Rudolf. Finally, we made it.
Finally, after
There is
storms and
not
everything.
snow outside. Snow has melted. The weather is
Amazing.
beautiful. Yesterday we had a storm of wind, though. But okay, we have half the trees. We have 1 million trees exactly in the whole city of Madrid are in the floor right now.
No, amazing.
Yes. So
Amazing.
that's amazing. First to clean it, which is going to be a nightmare,
Yeah,
and then to replace them, which is going to be another
absolutely.
nightmare.
And it needs to be done, otherwise we
Yeah.
have other problems.
So
Yes,
it's hard
yeah.
task ahead. On
Oh
top of
my God.
Corona, of course.
Yes, of course, on top of Corona, but I'm afraid we're going to speak more about Corona today than about the storm. But at least, well, you people know why this has been delayed for a few weeks, and now we are finally together. Jose, um, well, I don't have to introduce you, of course, because people who listen to this podcast, they know who you are. But what I would like to point out, and it's also one of the reasons why you are the first to be in this podcast, it's you're not only a world famous tenor, but you are what I call personally a very complete artist. You are an artist in even in life, I would say. In real life, you're not a singer, you're a conductor, you're a composer, but you are a director. You do designs, but you also do photography, etc. And you have strong opinions, and I really like that about you. And I think we need to talk today about the subject that will be for the next few weeks, I'm afraid still, and maybe months, the subject of this podcast also. When we talk to artists about their personal sides, what affects them in
Mm.
life and affects them not only on stage or in the next premiere, but really in life. Of course, what happens in this world at the moment, the pandemic, is one of the top subjects. And um, I'm sure you have been asked these questions before, but let's talk a little bit about um, maybe just first Jose Cura as a man, as a person, not as an artist yet.
So not
Um,
yet in my strong opinions.
exactly. Well, we come to that.
You
But
know,
as
my strong opinions have granted me as many enemies as friends.
well, that that
And
means
you
you're
know,
a good person.
I'm very proud of both.
You should be. You should be. You should be. Uh, uh, and but how was Jose Cura, the person who lives in Madrid, who is from Argentina, who is travel across the world, etc. How has he been affected by what's happening over the last 11 months now?
Well, myself, the gypsy artist, the
Mm,
one all the time with the luggage ready and jumping from one plane to the other, I suffer, of course, a lot after 30 years. This 2021 is going to be my 30th year since I landed in Europe, and in July it will be my 30th anniversary since my first ever public appearance in Europe. And 30 years, out of which I did around 3,000 performances, give and take, which means performances a year, which means one performance every 2.5, 3 days.
Yeah.
That means a lot of work and a lot of traveling and a lot of action.
Yeah.
A lot of action, which is
And
exactly
tension also, nervous tension.
yeah, tension and stress and everything you can put on top of that. I'm glad I still keep my hair. But I'm getting white because of that. But okay, my hair is still there. But yeah, when I look back on those 30 years, I see a lot of joy, of course, a lot of success, a lot of achievements, but also a lot of painful moments, of attacks, of sufferings, of injustice, etc. But well, that's the story, I think, of everyone's life when you live your life in action and not passively. I mean, the only way not to be killed by a car is to stay inside your house and don't cross the street. So the moment you go out, the risk exists. Sure. Okay, so me connected with that part of my life. Of course, I'm gonna soon be 1 year at home, which is probably the longest period ever in the last 30 years. And that it's a killer in a way. I mean, I think I'm saying nothing new when I say that I put like 12 kilos on, because in these cases you don't go out, you don't burn, you try to do some gym, but it's not the same like being in action. And on the contrary, because you are suffering, you all this turmoil inside, you eat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the rare pleasures.
Stress relief.
It's one of those pleasures that nobody is, for the moment, forbidding. But a couple of weeks ago, or like 3 weeks ago, we said, okay, then now it's stop with this because it's self-destruction,
Sure.
Eating and getting weight, and it's okay. So we have stopped, and I'm in a heavy diet, and I am really desperate, which it's hitting the other side of the desperation from confinement to diet. Okay, but well, I cannot complain of that, and I have a great family who is taking care of forcing me to get back in shape, not only physical but also technical. I mean, it's no wonder if singers are listening to me now, that without the need of the stage, after a while, your conscience as a singer to try to stay in good shape vocally starts to say, hey, why?
Yeah, it's like sportsmen, actually.
Yeah, it's like sportsmen, like I think like everybody. If you don't perform, you don't feel that need. And in the beginning, your responsibility is coping with that black hole, but then little by little, 1 month after month, and so on, you say, okay, today I don't want to sing, or today I don't want to vocalize, or today I don't want to do my scales or things, And what happens is that we lose the physical shape. Not the artistic shape that's in there, but the physical shape, the muscles part of the formula of the singers, which is as important and as engaging and as the conceptual, artistical one. Absolutely. We are all losing. And if you put me tomorrow and say, can you sing an opera in a week? I would say, no, I just cannot endure it. Of course, I know how to do it as a sportsman, know how to do, I don't know, a football player, know how to kick the ball. But after 1 year without kicking the ball, when you go to play a match, the first thing that's going to happen is that you're not going to make it to the end of the first half. And the second thing is that we are most likely to be injured.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's interesting you're mentioning that, because that you never hear about when you talk to artists. They say, oh yes, and I miss the public, which is true. The audience, I miss the audience.
Of course.
I have an economic problem, which is true. But
that's even more true.
Yes, but that's an aspect that never has been talked about, actually.
No, if tomorrow, suppose that tomorrow we have a green light, it would be impossible, maybe for some ensembles, but for freelance individuals like me, it will be almost impossible if tomorrow we have a green light to have in 1 week, I don't know, an Otello performance. So it's impossible. I mean, you need to go little by little, regaining your shape, recalling your muscles, your attitude, your physical attitude, to be able to endure to the end of the show. Because it's the way it is. So also that's another thing to put on top of the confinement thing.
Absolutely.
And well, that's to talk about the professional. Then the human, it's another story, because of course, in a way, it was lovely to be home so long and to be able to take care of my things without having to do them in a rush because I have to go to catch another plane, and being able to finally clean that room of your house that you always said you're going to do it one day and you never do it, and things and so on. You know, those are part also, and to share a lot of time with your family. Well, in my case, it was not such great fun because my kids are 2 living in London and 1 in Bordeaux, so I didn't see them since last holidays. So we are great. I'm with my wife here and with some friends, but still I miss my family. So that part is not fun for me. I mean, it's almost 1 year without seeing my kids.
In normal times, are you a very socializing person? Are you meeting people a lot when you have time, of course, but are you going out, meet friends and stuff a lot, or are you rather the retired?
Well, when normal times, it depends on what the hell you call normal. If normal is my normality, which is running up and down a lot, then I am not social, but not because I'm not social, but because I'm social all the time. So when I'm home, I don't want to be social for a while.
Of course.
If that is what you mean by normal, but if normal is now that I am home, of course I miss a lot the contact.
That's what I mean.
I mean, and as a Latino, I miss the hugs, I miss the kisses, I miss the touching. I mean, we miss it. I'm ready to bet that even you guys from the north, you're starting to miss the hugs also.
Absolutely. No, but you know, we Austrians, we consider ourselves Germans from the south, so we are always from the south.
But then there's some positive things, of course, and I had a lot of time for myself, so I could resume my composing activities, which I have paused for a long time to dedicate to my career as a singer and also as a conductor in the last 10 years. And so all of a sudden I found myself with all the time I was claiming for me in the past years to compose. Which means that I could finally write that guitar concerto I always wanted to write. So I just dig in my drawers and I found some drafts from the past, which I developed.
Just heard a little extract on a computer simulation.
I think you told me you used the rondo, the final movement.
Yes,
a little bit of the rondo. It's a concerto called Concierto por un Resurgir, a concert for a research. Which is, of course, very symbolic in these times.
And resurrection almost.
The resurrection is a research in the more less philosophical or theological kind of thing, but just let's raise and keep on walking, or you know. And that's why the first movement is the Brazilian choro, which is a dance, a very catchy dance that really, I mean, what I didn't want to do with this concerto is to write conceptual music. Because in these moments when you're talking about a music that needs to move people to, you know, to feel it in the body and to feel the urge to research, you don't write conceptual music because that's exactly the contra. I mean, that's sit down and think. You know, and it is not a sit down and think kind of concerto.
Sure.
It is, of course, because if you analyze it in the structure, if you're a musician and you analyze it in the structure, it's much more complex than it seems apparently. But the outcome, which is the important thing, is not to show how complex is a thing, but But how catchy is a thing without proving that it's complex?
Well, that's the real way you know how to do it. It is complex, but people
Exactly.
don't realize how complex it actually
And I
is.
also could orchestrate my Te Deum, which was supposed to be premiered now, the 27th of January in Budapest, and my appearance was cancelled because I am confined in Madrid
Sure.
with no way to come out. So the premiere, the world premiere of my Te Deum, it's on hold for the moment, which is horrible, because there's nothing worse for a composer and thing that to put on hold.
Yeah, I was going to say it's nice to have time to compose, but when when your pieces cannot be performed, it's kind of stressful again.
Yeah, and when they cannot be performed because you cannot place them anywhere and nobody wants them, that's already a big stress for a composer, mainly when you're an unknown composer.
Yeah.
But when you have the chance that I have to start to place them, not everywhere, but slowly somewhere, and they are ready and they are programmed and the chorus has already studied and the orchestra is ready and the parts are ready and everything is ready to go, and 4 or 5 days before you say, no, we have to cancel it because of Corona,
that's horrible.
Then that's really horrible.
Yeah, that's like you keep your breath and keep going to, and then suddenly somebody slaps you in the face and stops you. It's a bit like that. But speaking about performances and speaking about the institutions that we normally work for and that you perform with, that's my next question, because of course we spoke about you as a person, as an artist, but what does it, in your opinion, mean, this whole lockdown, this whole hold we are on in the artistic world, for the arts world itself at the moment, and then maybe for the future? But first, at the moment, how do you see that? What is happening? Is it something that has just come out of the blue, or are we here experiencing some crisis that has been created earlier already?
My feeling, this is only my feeling, and again, as you said in the beginning, I have strong, how do you say, strong positions?
Strong opinions.
Strong opinions, and so probably what I'm going to say now is going to divide again some people, and well, if it helps to think, then very welcome the division. My feeling is that we are, I mean, not we, I'm not going to include myself in that. I'm not going to include you and many people I know, because I know we know what is going on. But a lot of people is using the COVID as an alibi to say, oh my God, the conditions in which the show business is now is the COVID's fault.
Yeah,
that's an amazing alibi. It's not my fault. It's the virus.
Yeah.
And unless we open our eyes very big and we try to be honest with ourselves and forget the COVID. The COVID was not the bomb. The COVID was just the detonator of a bomb that is underlying there for a long time. And in these days when we were talking about this with friends and colleagues, and then whenever we can, sometimes chatting, sometimes by text messages and etc. What I used to say is, I used to use some analogies. Of course, analogies are always very antipathic because they're not 100% perfect, but they help to understand certain things.
Yeah.
And it's, as I say, if tomorrow the whole industry of soft drinks collapse, we are not going to die of thirst. We still have water. Okay, it's the industry which is going to die, with a lot of people unemployed and all the disaster that could cause. If tomorrow the industry of sports collapse and all of a sudden we don't have any more the business of the sport, people is not going to stop doing sport. We are going to still going out for a walk, for a jump, for a little football match with friends, etc. I mean, sports is a part of ludic and prophylactic part of the society's life. It's not going to cease. That's going to continue. What is going to suffer is the industry of sport, the business of sport. And same applies to music. That we like it or we don't like it, we need to understand. And this has been proved by COVID. If COVID was useful, sorry for the useful thing,
Sure.
if it was useful for something, it was to demonstrate the industry that even if we stop, music continues. Music must go on.
Mm.
We can keep on doing music in at home, in amateur thing, through the screen. I mean, music will not die because the industry stops.
Yeah.
It will, of course, be difficult to reproduce certain type of pieces or masterpieces, because unless you have a structure, you cannot perform an opera, or unless you have a full orchestra, you cannot perform a big symphony from Beethoven, Shostakovich, or Rachmaninoff, or whoever. Okay, but the music as a concept, as part of the society, will not stop, will not die.
Yeah.
What do I want to say with this is that we in the show business industry, and this is the part when I'm going to grant for myself some more enemies, we have given for granted forever that nobody could live without us.
Yeah. 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 I agree.
Oh, no, come on. The world cannot live without us. We are the culture. We are blah, blah. We are this, we are that. No, wait a minute. If you want culture and you don't have the show business industry, you can get yourself a culture if you make an effort.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Libraries, museums, etc.
Yeah.
Of course, I repeat, because I'm not naive. There are certain things you cannot do, you will not be able to do, but the whole thing will not disappear. So that means we are not, the show business industry is not indispensable for humankind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's great, it's useful, it's better to have it than not to have it. But if we don't have it, we didn't have it for 1 year now, life goes on in a way or another.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is good to put down a little bit our arrogance.
Yeah.
You know?
Our too strong ego, yes.
Our strong ego, but ego is good when it's not a sickness of ego. You know, egolatry, egoism, those are bad. But the ego as a concept is not bad, because ego is what we need to stick out your head out of the crowd. If you don't have ego, you remain in the crowd. I know what you mean. No, I know what you mean.
No, sure, you wouldn't go on stage without the ego, but I meant the too strong ego.
Yeah. Well, no, but what I know what I mean, because this is also another common thing, because people repeating that somebody said about the ego, and now the ego is the horrible beast of the humankind, and it's not. Sorry, ego is a very important thing, because without ego, you don't stick your head out of the crowd.
Definitely.
And if you don't stick your head out of the crowd, the whole society is just crowd, which is exactly what certain levels of people needs in order to keep us under control.
There you are.
So one thing is the ego, which is good, and one other thing is the sicknesses of ego. Egolatry, egocentrism, egoism, that's another pair of gloves.
Exactly.
But okay, back to what we're saying is my big concern is, how can I put it? If we keep the analogy of the sports, for great that Pelé was, for great that Maradona was, forget about his human problems and talking about the football player.
Yeah.
If they would be playing today, they couldn't make it to the end of the first half, simply because times have changed, and today football players are super athletes.
Yeah.
So the sports industry has adapted from guys that ran the 100 meters in 12 seconds to Usain Bolt, who did it in 9+. Everything has evolved. Still respecting the roots, looking back, because a tree without roots, it's a tree that dies.
Yeah.
But one thing is to respect the roots, another thing is to stay in the roots and don't grow, don't change, don't adapt.
Yeah.
And that's our problem in a lot of, not every, I'm generalizing, and when you talk like this, it seems that everything is like that. No, I'm just generalizing because we're talking about the problem. But of course, there's a great deal of solution in the other side that some people are trying to move. But the problem is that in our business, we have this perpetual concept that, as it was in the past, it would never be again. So an ex soprano, it's okay, but she's not callous.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
An
yeah,
ex-tenor, it's okay, but he is not Delmonico.
yeah, yeah,
And you go, I'm sorry, these guys were myths. They are probably the base where we sit in order to develop the modern era of classic
yeah,
music or opera.
yeah,
But
yeah,
if today you would perform like them, you will be laughed at.
yeah, yeah. True, true.
The same as if today you would act like Errol Flynn.
Yeah, right. You are.
I mean, it would be a
Yeah,
comic movie.
yeah. It's absolutely,
But not
absolutely.
because that they were comic, but because at the time that was the thing, and now it's a completely
Style,
different thing.
right? Yeah,
Alors, the thing is to conclude: is this evolving or not? Is this changing, meaning evolution or involution?
mm-hmm.
That's another conversation, and I think we don't have that time.
But we should have that one day.
Exactly,
Yeah,
but the so far the conclusion is if we do not, how to be clear, not to be misunderstood, not to deny the past, not to not recognizing how great these people of the past was, because we owe to them the fact that they have built the basements where we are now building the houses.
yeah,
Do not regret that, but we need to move on and build the second, the third, and the fourth floor.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
the basement is already done.
yeah, yeah.
And with this arrogance that we have in the classic business of saying, no, 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 just stay there because any change is not good, we are losing the public of the future.
True.
And I want to use one phrase I just said without thinking, and now I want to complete it. I said, any change is not good. No, not every change is good. So, there is the thing. Which are the changes that we need? Which are the changes that we don't need?
Absolutely,
But
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
something needs to be done.
It's to be done. Now, I have a question for you. Yesterday, once again, we hear that every day. There was an announcement on TV here that there will be some two actors who will do a play for two actors online, and you can buy a ticket. Blah, blah, blah. Great actors from the Burgtheater here in Vienna, right? And I was sitting there, and then I said to my wife, "Look, maybe 8 months ago, I said, hey, good that they're doing something. They're not sitting in their corner and wait for this to end. They're trying to go out and to do new ideas and good. Now I'm starting to be skeptical if it is still a good thing because the audience might get just used to that. When it'll all be over, will they still want to take the trouble to take the bus to go to the theater to buy a ticket to line up? Or is it just nice to sit at home eating popcorn and watch that on TV?
You
Well,
know
what's
what
your
the
opinion on
Italians
that?
you know what the Italians say when you provoke when someone like you provokes someone like me with that thing, they say you are kicking an open door. But thanks for that, because you just passed me the ball to keep on running. And let's say that I would try to use. I like to speak with analogies in these cases because when we speak narrowly and just professionally, we hit only a little percentage of the audience. And I like
Yeah,
to speak openly with more analogies, so
yeah,
that
we
also
should.
people that are not professionals or musicians, etc., will get what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
And and uh, and the analogy is a little bit brutal, but it's super clear. If you are alone at home for your sexual fun, you have two choices: or you take a cold shower and you go to bed, or you watch some porno in internet and you do what you have to do. Okay, so far so good. You are not alone at home. You cannot go out. Say,
Yeah,
okay, it's a brutal analogy, but just to understand what you said right now, if we have nothing, then they're very welcome. These two guys doing what they're doing, because for them it's also hell to perform in
of
front
course,
of nobody.
of course.
When you're a stage person, you're performing for nobody. It's
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
like doing a striptease behind a window. You don't know who
Yeah,
is looking,
yeah,
and you don't know reactions. You cannot eat and breathe from the reactions of the audience in order to enhance your own performance, etc.
Yeah.
So it's also a very bad thing. But when you have nothing, that's a great deal of a lot. The danger of that, as you said, is that for as long as we have fun with the computer because we are alone and we don't have chances, it's one thing. But if we get used to that, so that even when we have the chances, we will still keep on having fun only with the computer and alone in our bathroom, then the first thing that will happen is the species will finish. So that's the first thing. I mean, the first thing is that...
A Brave New World says something else, but yeah.
No, I mean, but just to close down the analogy, I mean, if
of course.
If everybody does that, then hello, we are the last generation. Goodbye. So, but if you put that on music, if you put that on art, then we have a serious problem. I mean, since the year 2000, 2005, when internet became so powerful and when everybody could have a little toy in his hand, great toys, by the way, if you use them properly, they are amazing toys.
Absolutely.
When everybody can have one of those, the screen has become the new stage. We talk a lot today about the new normality. Here they talk new normality, new normal. I'm sure
that's a new word everywhere. Yeah.
And within this new normality, the screen has its protagonism, and it's to have become the new stage for the world. The problem of that, for good that it is, because I mean we can reach corners of the planet that we wouldn't be able to reach in any case. But as you said, if we get used to that because of the easiness of the comfort, to just click and reach the performance when I'm bored. If I want to go to the bathroom, I go to the bathroom. I want to eat, I eat. I don't need to put my nice suit to go to the theater. All things that look and seem stupid and superficial, but they are part of a ceremony that we need.
In the preparation,
exactly,
even to go
in the preparation. If you are a believer and you go to church every Sunday, you prepare for the church a little bit before, then you go, then you see it, etc., etc. And it's the same with the theater. It's the same with a lot of things. When you go to see a beautiful performance of the Vienna Staatsoper, just for example, because you're in Vienna, I'm talking with you, then you prepare for that mentally if you are a good public, because it's also something important. You have to. They're not only professional performers, but there's a professional public also. If you're a good public, you prepare, you read the argument, you read the thing, you read about it. I mean, you prepare yourself. Yeah. And then you dress more or less pretty. If you're a traditionalist, maybe you put a tuxedo. If not, but you just don't go like you go to the swimming pool, to the theater. But not because of others, what others will say, because at the end, who cares? Who cares? But because it's good for you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sure. And if we lose all this, we're slowly losing a lot of things in our social exchanges that where the magic, it's an ingredient as important as the thing itself.
Yeah.
To go to the stage, it's a very important human interaction. You see the artist on stage being afraid or not being afraid, or crying, or laughing, or sweating, or, I mean, all these physical interactions that proper lovers have. Okay, I used to say a lot that we on stage are the other side of the formula. The public is the lover of us. We are lovers there. Okay, and when your lover is not nice, then the night doesn't work. And when your lover pretends from you only a cold rendition of your job without intensity, your lover is treating you as a hooker. I pay you money with the ticket, you do what I have to do, and then I take a shower and go home. None of us that's not the formula. Even if you're paying the artist, it's a being who is giving you, etc. That's another conversation again. Then we have already two different conversations to develop in the future. But so this is the danger, Rudolf. This is the dangers. Hi guys out there. This is the dangers. This is great. I'm talking using the screen. I'm talking with you thanks to this tool.
Thanks to this, but the way you use it is the important thing.
No, and it's not only the way you use it, it's that you use it knowing that it is not the real thing.
The real thing.
Exactly. It's just a sub-product of the real thing. To get ready for the real thing, why not? To prepare yourself to understand better the real thing, okay, but not
to replace
a replacement of the real thing.
Yeah. Now, I have to come to a final question already, but this is important to me. The Greek word crisis, and we hear that so often those days, has, of course, a consequent word, which is called catharsis. And crisis leads in the old Greek tragedy to catharsis, which means the solution which normally is better than what caused the crisis in the beginning. Do you see anything in this crisis? I'm now referring to the arts and performing arts in particular. Anything in that crisis that we live that could become its catharsis, that could become a solution for problems that we had before, and that might be helped through that, and might be better afterwards? Is there anything?
Yeah, of course, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. If not, instead of losing our time, let's just kill ourselves right now and avoid all the sufferings, because if in any case nothing is going to change, then okay, goodbye. It was nice, and that's it. So there should be a light at the end of the tunnel. The problem of this catharsis, as you say, is that one thing is to be yourself the responsible of your own catharsis. That means you are in charge of the wheel that will drive you to the catharsis or to the suicide. And one other thing is when that wheel is being driven by somebody else who is conditioning the catharsis of the society. That's the thing. And me as an individual, I'm not talking now about the artist, but about José Cura, the human being. I more or less know what I need to do in order to come out from this. I'm not talking economically, I'm talking professionally, I'm talking here. Okay? But the problem is when you see around and you are not in charge of the mass catharsis, you're just in charge of your own catharsis, but not the mass catharsis, because somebody up there is in charge of your catharsis. Somebody who, in the 90% of the cases so far, if I read newspapers from all over the planet, has proved to be incapable to handle the situation. Some of them for bad faith, some of them simply because they're trying hard, but because this is so new for everybody, nobody knows how to handle it, and where to run. So people are taking decisions and correcting over the on the spot, and some decisions are correct, some others not. So as usual, there are good ones, there are bad ones, there are people with bad intentions, people taking advantage of the disaster to make more richness, and people trying the best. It doesn't have to do with degree of power they have in society. Who is good, who is bad, and will always be COVID or not COVID. The only thing is that COVID is giving a great tool for a lot of people to do a lot of damage. But who was a bad guy was a bad guy also before COVID. So the catharsis for the moment, the only thing we can do is individually try to do our homework as good as we can within the possibilities we have, because we cannot do anything else today. We cannot do anything else. The important thing is that when this finishes, and this is going to finish one day, let me try to be optimistic now. This is going to be finished one day. We are going to have a green light one day. If from the moment we have the green light, we are all unprepared to start immediately, to take it from there and start immediately, because during 1 year, 1.5 years or 2, How long is going to be this? I don't know. We were just sitting waiting for somebody else to tell us what to do. Then this green light will be completely useless because we have no strength, no preparation, nothing to go for it.
Yeah.
You know, chance, luck doesn't exist. It's preparation what counts. Luck is to be in the middle of the desert without water and suddenly it starts to rain. That's a great luck. Okay? But preparation is to have a glass to gather the water.
Yeah.
Because if not, you can have all the luck of the world, but if you cannot gather the water, you're going to die of thirst in any case.
True.
So the point is, now that we have the time, independently, we have different degrees of suffering. Today, my aunt has died, for example. Okay, this is a crisis in the family, but we keep on going. And I'm not the only one, and everyone is going through this day after day after day after day all over the planet.
Yeah.
Okay, so we cannot, unfortunately, we cannot take refuge in this pain to get drunk and stop. Okay, let's just take one bottle and the next day wake up and okay, let's keep on pushing.
It's gone. Yeah.
We need to continue, because if we don't do it, then we will not come out from this in any way.
Yes.
My only concern, and I'm sure you need to now to cut me out, because if you don't cut me out, I keep on talking for the whole night. Because I get passionate with this. My only concern is when you need to refloat a boat, and we need drastically and dramatically to refloat the boat.
Yes.
You don't put in charge of the boat the same sailors and the same captain who sunk it.
Yes. There you go. There you go. What a great sentence to finish that talk.
Amen.
Jose, but I have a strong feeling that this was not our last time here on my podcast, because I think there are other things we should really talk about a bit more in depth. But now we have come to the time that we need to let you go. Thank you so much for this, and for being so open, and for having strong opinions. I have to say that I'm very glad you have those. And
somebody has to put their head on the plate.
Well, good luck with everything that you are preparing, and let's hope that we see and hear you on stage soon again, because it will mean that the green lights have come back again. It will be good for all of us. Thank you. And
a lot of help to everybody out there, and keep it tight. It's going to finish soon.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye now.
Bye.